Welcome to your weekly episode of Only Dead Fish Go with the Flow. This episode is slightly different. It's Let Me Chew Your Ear Off About Football, which I actually know nothing about, but it is hosted by British Rowing's answer to Chloe Kelly and Leah Williamson, Daisy Bellamy.
Hello. No, I'm hoping I know enough about football. I like to think of myself as quite a big fan and
Professional football fan.
professional football fan. I'll take that.
Yeah, professional football fan. So Daisy is actually a full-time national team member of British Rowing,
Mhm.
but you did used to play football as a child, so that qualifies you as a professional football fan.
I'm highly qualified then. At my poor attempt of a professional career in football, which was never going to happen. I was awful. I was really bad.
Living the dream, though.
But I was living the dream. So I played for my local team, Ashridge. Shout out. And that would have been from ages of 8 to 12, 13 maybe. And it was just the local football team. I went with one of my best mates from primary school, and we were coached by one of the players' dads. Like, it was, very community, that spirit side of sport. And I loved it. I think that's where I worked out that team sport was going to be my thing, because I was more interested probably in making friends and chatting about all sorts.
The more friends, the
The
better.
more friends, the better. And that's why I like playing in defence, because then I had ideally more time to chat to my teammates and actual playing at that point in time. I'm like in a training environment.
Oh,
You love a good gaff.
loves a gossip. But you have got your own sporting credentials now, aside from your football career, ages 8 till 12. So you are now currently a European champion in rowing,
hmm
under 23 champion in rowing, multiple other medals bring to mind, Henley winner.
hmm
Anything else you want to add?
Anything else? Bowling for long distance? No, I'm joking. No, I think that's
No Bucks regatta?
no. No, I do have a Bucks regatta. I got my first Bucks medal this year. So I'm currently doing my masters at Reading Uni, and they have been an amazing club to be a part of. And I had the best time. I jumped into a double with a girl called Zara, and we got silver. There's a couple of the others on the women's squad that we were racing against in the doubles for the championship, and they've just won under 23s in the women's quad, which
Yeah.
has been incredible to watch.
Yeah, very, very cool. Sporty Spice summer.
Yeah, it is a sporty spice summer.
I'm trying to
cold.
I'm trying to make it happen. I don't know if you can tell. Okay, well we'll go back to football, because that's what we're trying to do this time, is actually talk about football and not rowing,
Yeah.
just for a change. So could you very simply name and explain the sport in question?
Yeah,
The beautiful game.
the beautiful game. So you got two teams, one ball, you kick it around with your feet, um, trying to score into the goals at either end of the pitch. I think that's as simple as you can drive it. And
Yeah,
pretty sure all the listeners will know football from as soon as they could
Ev
talk, basically. 'Cause
everyone's had a go, haven't they?
everyone's had a go.
Everyone's had a go. Could you sort of touch on what you think are the best and the worst parts?
So the best parts, I think, it's inclusive. It's something that's so accessible to anyone nowadays, particularly. You can join a club so easily and be involved in the game at whatever level. And even if you're not playing, the fan base is amazing. Watching games is really enjoyable. It's not boring like rowing. Um, there's just like so much to talk about with it, because it's a sport that has so many dimensions.
I think as a child, I was never part of a football team as such, but at primary school, we always used to play football together, or maybe football's maybe a bit of an over, bit of a stretch, but there was a ball involved and there were like traffic cones. And I remember like breaking my big toe because I was supposed to be taking a goal kick, big responsibility. And the ball like rolled. It was you get like a curb on a road,
Mm.
and I was taking this goal kick and the ball like moved, and instead of hitting the ball, I like gave it like the curb like an almighty like,
Oh my
whack, and broke my big toe. And like even now, like you can't bend all the way. Like the other one can curl all the way down. And
Some serious long-term damage.
yeah,
And that was the career over.
that was it. Could have made it pro.
Yeah, could have made it pro, but my knee injury stopped me in 2008.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I was 7, I accidentally missed the ball and kicked a curb. Really hurt. Really hurt. The worst parts.
So I think I'll go with the toxic side of the fan base. So that's
Going straight in for Debbie Downers.
sorry, this is such a Debbie Downer. It's a bit heavy, but I think it's the misogyny, violence, and the racism that comes along with. So it is a small part of the game, and there are efforts in removing it completely from the game, and huge efforts from some brilliant people. But it is still the reality. Obviously, we've just watched the Euros, and one of the players experienced some horrible racism online, and the fact that that's still happening, and that people are getting away with that, and the impact that has on the player that's performing at the highest possible level, how disappointing that is.
Yeah, I've seen that there's talk about some of the players just completely boycotting social media unless those platforms can like get a better handle on what people are posting.
Yeah, so I think the plan is taking the knee is something that they want to stop doing because it had a massive impact in COVID. When that was decided to do at the start of every game. But it's kind of showing that although there was progression at that point, it's taken a lull, and the fact it's still a problem for particularly players to experience that it's not doing its thing. It's not enough. It's a statement, but it's not proactive. It's not
It's got
pushing the education. It's not it's stopping it online.
It's got to the point where you kneel at the start of the game, and that's the done thing, kind of almost, as opposed to it being a stand.
Yeah,
that is not causing the change that needs to happen. Sporting ick.
Sporting ick.
I was actually very impressed that you have a football sporting specific ick.
Specific ick. It would be after games watching people trying to walk across the car park on like tarmac and studs. Because firstly, it's terrible for your studs. It like blunts them and completely destroys a boot. But most of all, you look like you shit yourself and you're skating across the tarmac, and it looks terrible, and you look like such an idiot. It's like the same as walking in like cleats for cyclists. Like, just take them off, get a pair of sliders, sort yourself out.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. I've actually never experienced walking around in studs, but I have worn cleats before, and it's not good.
Oh no.
It's not good. Don't wear it for longer than necessary.
Exactly.
It's not a flex. It's not a flex. What are we? I know obviously we're dying on the hill about football, but I'm still going to introduce us as what are we dying on the hill about this week? Just love women's football.
I just love women in general. No, I just really want to push for equal opportunity for women in sport in general, but seeing how the game's progressed so much in recent years, particularly how I've watched it in my lifetime.
You are like 12.
And I'm 12, guys, I'm 24. Sophia always swears I'm a lot younger than I am, but I am
like Benjamin Button.
I'm Benjamin Button now. I'm deteriorating fast.
So let's start at the beginning of not the beginning of women's football, but we have a starting point historically of women's football getting banned in 1921.
Yeah.
And you were sort of saying before that, because of World War One, women had taken on a lot of male job roles, and part of that was entertainment and women's football.
Yeah. So obviously a big contribution of the war was women taking those roles, and they also started to play football at that time. And that it was recorded there was a match that had 50,000 people in attendance at a women's game, um, which was already showing there was so much interest in women playing, and people wanted to come and watch it. And the fact that then very soon after that, the FA were like, no, ban. I think that was, of the time, it was a reflection of women start to have this power. And I think, in honesty, it made them very uncomfortable. Like, people don't like change, and the people that were running the FA probably didn't like the fact that women were getting this attention, and like this was going to open a whole new part of the sport. And they were like, no, we want this as a men's game. Like, historically, that's how it's always been. And just shutting women out like that.
Yeah.
It's just that point in time.
So in that was banned in 1921. They were banned from clubs.
Yeah, so they were, if you were a woman wanting to play football, you weren't allowed to join a club. You couldn't play on any of the pitches. They'd even attempted to ban it from being played on the streets. So it's so extreme. Like, to be told you cannot play a sport, and there's other sports that women were told that they couldn't play because there were doctors that felt that physiologically it wasn't deemed safe. This is athletics in particular speaking. They were also banned because women, they thought that women's physiology couldn't allow them to play that sport because the fact that they had wider hips, and that was it.
That was dangerous.
And they were like, we want women to be childbearing. Like, that is their one role, you know. Obviously, this is not the not the case at all. But these male professionals that had these really strong opinions that meant that women then couldn't get involved at all. It was so detrimental to the progression of the game, of women in sport in general. Obviously, they're not on the right side of history now. Like, they look a little bit silly.
So the ban was lifted in 1971.
Yeah.
So quick maths, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
54 years.
I think what's really impressive is the fact that the women had to start from scratch. It wasn't funded. You know, they introduced it back into the FA, and you could play, and then women's teams were starting to be created, and like the money wasn't going into the women's game. You know, women weren't being paid professionally until much later on. I want to say 1993. I'll check that. And it's incredible how fast their progression has been to win 2 major titles. You know, in the last World Cup, the Lionesses were in the final. And I think a story that I really wanted to include in this is that one of the oldest players is Lucy Bronze.
Yeah, girl crush.
Girl crush. God, guys, I'm obsessed. Essentially. If you see the thirst traps on TikTok, she is someone else.
Well, dark and handsome can come in many forms.
I don't think she's very tall. I think I'm a little bit taller than her.
Oh, okay.
But dark and handsome, and
anyway,
let's not go down that obsession. But she started playing professionally, I think in 2000. Again, I'll check that. But when she started playing professionally, she was playing for Sunderland, and they didn't have enough money. So they got to the FA Cup final, which was huge for their team, to play Arsenal, and they didn't have enough money to send their women's squad down to play in the final at Wembley. So they had to fundraise at their local like grocery shop to do bag packing for the locals to get them a coach down to play at Wembley. Which, when you think of it being in our lifetime like that,
very recently,
yeah. And I think she's got over her 100th cap at this Euros, and she has been playing for the team. I think she's like 32, 33 now, and has had the most incredible career, and she is showing no signs of slowing down. She's still one of the best players of this tournament that's just happened, and I just think that the fact that she's come from that place to then to be playing to where it is now, that is such an incredible part of her career, to have been riding that out and seeing how much it's changed.
And she was actually, there was like stuff reported that she was actually playing on a fractured tibia.
Yeah, I mean, that I saw there's like a big part of the women's game that they've found that like people love the stories of these players, like, their personal lives, and like I'm again, like, I'm so invested. I saw an interview with her mum, which I loved, and she was saying as soon as she was born, she knew that this woman was going to be really amazing kind of person, and she decided to name her middle name was Tough.
Yeah.
And I think that does reflect that she is by no means, but like she's never stepped down from a challenge, and playing on something like that, that's, I think they said that would be like the most painful experience of, like, if you had to break any bone, that's the worst one to break. And you could see that like that she was really struggling throughout every game, but would not give in at all.
Yeah.
And her sub constantly warming up, getting ready to go on. And then she's like, no, I've got this.
I'm good.
And won't take anything from anyone else. Of like, the professionals were saying it before the tournament, like, you can't play, like, kind of pushing towards that angle. And she was like, no, I am. Like,
I am.
I just think she's very cool.
That's a good little bit of insight on that.
Yeah.
Or a little fun fact. Let's talk about gender pay gap in this in this environment, because I hadn't actually done that too much research into it. But I was listening to Radio 1 the other day, and or maybe it was Radio 2. I don't know. I don't know which one it was. On the radio, they were discussing Serena Wiedmann's salary compared to Gareth Southgate. And whenever I say Serena Wiedmann, I'm saying it right, aren't I?
Yeah.
I always want to say Serena van der Woodsen from Gossip Girl.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand, and Sophia was like, Serena van der Woodsen, and I was like, XOXO, Gossip Girl.
Serena van der Woodsen definitely would not settle for being paid less, as I doubt Serena Wiedmann does. But the stat was that she's actually paid 1/8 of Gareth Southgate's wage. Like, they're paid from the same pot, from what I understand, but somehow her wage is an eighth of his, which I find absolutely mental. And the other thing is, he has been awarded a knighthood.
Yeah, so the one that really annoys me is the fact that he's been awarded a knighthood and she hasn't, particularly since there's been opportunity. Like, she won the Women's Euros for the Lioness. Like I say, she didn't win it for them, but she directed their team towards winning in 2022. There's been ample opportunity to award her like what she deserves, and I think it's really important that like people are aware of how successful she is and what she's done for the women's game, because she's won 3 major titles, which is the first manager ever to do that across football.
She won with the Netherlands and then 2 with the Lionesses.
Yeah, and obviously, so she's Dutch herself. She played for the Dutch team, I want to say late 80s, 90s. But she then, after her football career, because again, at that time, there wasn't the kind of roles in football for her to join, and football wasn't a big thing in the Netherlands. So she was a PE teacher after she played at this professional level, like top end of sport, and then went to teaching. She was again a huge driver in how popular it became in the Netherlands. Like, importantly, she just changed how the game was perceived of women playing it in the Netherlands, and now how popular it is, and that everyone is really invested in watching like men and women in the Netherlands. It was then that she afterwards came over to the UK, and I really hated the narrative around the Euros in 2022, that people were saying, well, now she's gonna be offered a place in the men's game, and
Mm,
like that was quite a strong like carryover from like the success of the last Euros, and it was like, no, it's like the woman isn't a step down. It's different sides of the sport completely,
mm,
but it's not a step down from the men's game. Like, and I hate when people talk about it like that, of like,
mm.
well, she's done so well, now she's like gonna get a job in the on the men's side. It's
Yeah,
like, well, maybe she actually doesn't want to work in the men's side. Like, have you ever thought about that? Um, and it was like saying, well, oh, because she's actually so good, and focusing on the wrong parts about
yeah.
it.
They also not considered that actually maybe she's really good at working with women and she's like
Yeah.
built a really good rapport with women, and that's like part of being a good coach is working with the team that you're in charge of and like tailoring what you're delivering to the team,
Mm.
like and their needs. And it's not necessarily about, "Oh, now she's done really well as a woman, she can go and play with the men." It's an irritating narrative that she's done a really good job with the women. Now we can trust her with like a men's opportunity.
Mm.
It's like, that doesn't really sit right with me. Maybe we just like respect it as it is.
Because like you were saying there, I mean, you introduced it as the pay gap, and how I read it was like, if she was then coaching on the men's side, obviously like she'd be paid more. But
I tell you what, I bet it would be like, when those job adverts come out and it's subject to experience, and like, the person before you, they had the budget for
yeah,
50K, but because it's you or you're a woman or whatever, and you don't have enough experience, the budget's actually only
you
35.
don't have experience with men's teams, so
You don't,
I'm
yeah,
gonna bump you down.
I'm gonna bump you down. Like, even if they did take her onto the men's side, would they be then paying her the other 7/8 that are owed, or would they?
Well, I bloody should. Like, she was the most successful
Yeah.
manager.
But
Anyway.
the other thing that I thought was really interesting that you brought up was the FA are actually paying the men's and women's team the same for national representation, but the prize money is still significantly different.
Yeah, so Lionesses will be paid the same as the men playing for England going into a tournament, which is a great like step forward. That's progression. Well
Well,
done, guys.
I think it's kind of the bare minimum.
Yeah, it is the bare minimum, but I think that is just like something that actually I hadn't heard about until
Mm.
recently, because I dug around that part, and I think that's really important that they do actually show that progression is happening, so people know it is being taken seriously,
Yeah.
and they do see it as equal going into major tournaments like that.
Mm.
But then, like you're saying, the prize money is very different. I think, did we say the women's is 41 mil for winning the Euros 2025, and that's a 150%, sorry, 156% increase of the previous Euros, which that's huge.
But that's
Like,
insane.
that's insane to increase that much within 3 years. And we were saying beforehand, the one thing that I do find annoying, but it is part of it, because it's a huge part of football as it is a business. And
Mm.
I don't like talking about it like it is a business. People are seeing the women's game as profitable now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that you've got the fan engagement, you've got investors and brands that are wanting to work with you, and all these other assets that are kind of brought into the game, which weren't there before on the women's side, that have been there for a long time on the men's side. And that plays a huge part in it, because I mean the sponsorship is the biggest income that's going to come into the game.
Yeah.
So once you've got big brands that are
Wanting to partner up.
wanting to partner up, that's changed it so significantly. So they've realised that within the last Euros of,
Yeah, the last
this
three
is
years.
something we need to invest in, like a lot of major companies are thinking. And then we were saying on the men's side, to if the men won the Euros, it's 331 million pot of prize money. So 41 for the women, 331 for the men.
You do the math.
You do the math. And there are the differences in you have an entry fee per team going in.
Mm.
I think the woman is just over a mil to enter your team.
That's mad.
Yeah, which is mental. And then for the men, it's 9 mil, I think.
Oh my God, I
So
didn't know that.
so we complained about entry fees for races, and we're
It's like 20 quid.
40 quid for my seat. Like, oh, I'm not paying that. I'm not transferring that. I'm not like doing that into my club funds. And then you look at that and you're like, oh my God, that is so different. But it is crazy money when you look at like the like UEFA and the football bodies as a whole. Like that's kind of what they're dealing with. Like
Yeah.
it is
They're
their
dealing with
business. Like
big boy numbers.
that's big boy numbers.
They're not dealing with sponsorships like, oh, my dad's mate's got an IT company.
Yeah.
They're dealing with like Emirates.
Yeah,
And
my brother works in insurance, like, and he said maybe if we printed like the company on our t-shirts, we could get 50 quid each, and we could also get insurance if you wanted that. So
bargain.
win.
Absolute bargain. One of the other bits that I was briefly looking at was the visa study. So Visa did a study in 24, Visa as in like bank visa, I think. No, I do know. It was Visa as in bank visa. And they basically highlighted, they did it on 7,000 fans. And it was highlighting that fans of the women's game, they're more likely, they've got like a higher purchasing rate, or they're more likely to spend money on like merchandise and what was the other thing? Like kit and merchandise from the games. But it was like 74% more likely. Like the investment from the fans and from the sponsors is coming. And one of this has actually come straight from TikTok, so not
Reliable source.
not the study. The study hadn't come from TikTok,
No,
but
no.
the other thing I was going to say that's come from straight from TikTok was some of the women have done like, I guess, like come to training with us, or like get ready for training, or like what's in our bag. And like there's a few hate comments on the TikTok, and it was like, nobody cares. Like, we only care about football. This is why you're not being taken seriously. And the person who'd made this TikTok video, this is a complete tangent, but she was like, the women are actually giving brands better exposure. Like their sponsorship deals, they actually give better exposure because they're doing like little videos like this. And that's like 30 seconds to a minute of additional exposure that like the men's team aren't necessarily doing. And the consumers of us as other women are just like, yeah, we fucking love this.
Yeah, I want to get on board with it. I think that's like a huge part of it that I get so invested in. I love hearing the stories and seeing what they're doing, and like it's far more exposing than the men's game. Like the men's players, you actually a lot of their interviews and that kind of stuff is very controlled. And you don't really see their real life like experience, or like how they would actually talk quite naturally. You can tell when they haven't had like the media training, because they'll come up with some absolute corkers. But the women's side of it, they'll talk very openly about their life, and like you know a lot more about the players than you do about the men's side. That part's really interesting because of actually how that is massively boosted fan engagement. I just think, particularly female fans, we are so nosy.
Yeah, we are.
Want to know the ins and outs of every part of it. As soon as, and it's a talking point, isn't it? Like I've got football friends that are like be messaging them like, have you seen this? And we'll talk about these interviews, because it's relatable for women, and they feel that personal interaction with the players, and then you're so emotionally invested. So when they're playing, like I mean, at the last World Cup when England made the final and they were playing Spain, so it was like rerun again. Like it was the first time that they'd kind of played Spain, and then obviously they played them in the final again at the Euros. So I was a bit scared that it was gonna replay what had happened before. But I remember I was sat in the pub watching it, and it was like a great atmosphere. Like everyone's brought along their whole families and whatever. And it gets to the end of the game, And when I say I was sobbing in a public place, I couldn't control myself because I was so invested in these players, and like knowing that like some of them it was like their last international representation, and like they were probably going to retire after this, and like how much it meant to them, and they'd be like, oh god, like thinking about it sets me off, like zooming into the players' faces and you just see what it means to them, and you just know it, like it felt different to me. I follow both sides of the sport, like I like watch the men's game and watch the women's game, and like it just did hit different in that side of it.
Yeah. See, I'm not a football fan, but I have like followed the women's game, but I have followed like the women's football wags and like what they're wearing to like the games and stuff.
God.
Because
Was it Leah Williams?
yeah, you were like text me about the Euros, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that it's on, and like everyone's doing really well, and like really happy about it, and I love like the little facts that like we've sort of like discussed, and I love like the little intricate stories. I'm not bothered about the game itself,
And
but I love like the characters. But then there was a video that went up, and it was Leah Williamson's girlfriend, who is a Miss America model or
Miss USA.
that's it,
Yeah.
Miss USA, and she was wearing like this one of a kind England t-shirt, and I'm like massively into my textile and like design, and I was like instantly like looking up how to make it.
Yeah, so you like, can you create this for me? Like, I'll fund you the vintage shirt. Like, you just need to do the finishing product on it.
I'd like instantly within 5 minutes like found where it was from, and it was like 240 quid, and I was like,
maybe not, but maybe we can make it.
but yeah, no, I get what you mean about like the I'm saying characters. Obviously, they're not characters. Like it's not a play or anything. It's their real life and like professional athletes. But like that's how I emotionally attach to them, like through all of the stories and stuff, as someone who's not necessarily like invested in the sport.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's me cancelled. Who knows? I doubt that'll do it. I'm sure there's other things.
People have done worse.
I'm sure there's a better list somewhere. Right, there was another thing that I wanted to touch on. I think while we're on the funding side of it, we can touch on the Arsenal. Yeah, is your diss on it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you're like rubbing your hands.
Well, let me tell you.
Okay. So we'll go off clothes again because we're trying not to be a stereotypical female podcast. But your dissertation that you're doing at Reading, so you're doing a master's at Reading in
marketing. Yeah.
Your dissertation is focused on Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you want Arsenal as a whole, or
kind of? It's a bit long-winded.
It's all right. Do the spiel.
The spiel. So the title is, right. How Arsenal.
Can you remember your own title?
Can I remember my own title? Let's give this a go.
How many hours have you spent on this? And then let me know if you can remember your own title.
I have changed it a couple of times.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
How Arsenal has capitalised off the success of the Women's Euros in 2022 to boost fan engagement and growth in the women's game.
Okay, that is a long-winded title.
It is a long-winded title, and it's a lot of. If I have to write Arsenal Women's Football Club one more time in this piece of paper, I don't know.
Can you not abbreviate it?
I have abbreviated it, but
that's going to kill your word count.
It is killing my word count. And I just want to, this is such a disclaimer as well, because I'm actually not an Arsenal fan. I'm a Man United fan, which I inherited that from my dad. So that's his fault. But I was very interested in how Arsenal women have evolved over the last few years. I mean, it's kind of been them and Chelsea Women's Football Club that have changed the tone in the UK scene for like the YSL, which is the Women's Super League. And
I thought
they
my brain was instantly YSL as the designer brands. And I was like, that's so major that they've got that sponsor.
That is so cool. Maybe
That
I
would
should get
be
more invested in this.
that would be really cool though if that was
That
a
would be really
sponsor.
cool.
That would
Not
like
quite.
that'd be so much cooler than like Emirates.
Yeah. Emirates, that's boring.
I'm thinking big. Oh, sorry, carry on.
So, Arsenal over the past few years have really changed their approach on the women's side. I personally think that Juliet Slot, who is their COO, has had a big part to play in this. I know she's unpopular with Arsenal fans because of some decisions that she made, which affected the fan base, and particularly like loyal fan base. But on the other side of it, because she does the club as a whole, what she pushed for on the women's side, and she's another person that I would say like go Google her. Very cool career in what she's experiencing, particularly being that high up in business.
It's probably called a bitch, but if she was a man,
She's
she'd be a
had-
boss.
God, she's had a couple of shockers. I mean, the last podcast I listened to her talking about when she was working for Fulham, and I want to say this was like early 2000s era. She wouldn't be allowed to sit at the table with the CEO, CFO, CEO of like the club. Like she would be downgraded, and she got made to sit with the wives and girlfriends of the club. So you know she's experienced what it takes, and like how tough it is to be in that industry as a woman and to be heard and to kind of put her neck on the line with what she was doing. And like she's done several different aspects of sport. Like she did Ascot races, and she did 2012 Olympics. Now works for Arsenal. Quite a few of the pushes that she's made is like how the treatment of the women's side is that she wanted it to be the same, and I think she saw the business opportunity there for the popularity that was rising, and she changed their strategy around it, and like they had an immense social media presence in the last like 3 years. And that's how like particularly I noticed it, because although I was following Man United and what they were putting out there on the women's side, it wasn't relatable, it wasn't engaging, it wasn't sparking interest in people. It was very like, here's the players in training, here they are going off on their camp. Like not interacting with them at all. So like you're saying, like we love knowing about the players, and Arsenal did it very well on like how are we gonna get this interaction with our fans and increase our fan base. We want to like be across all platforms, knowing what is gonna get our content trending and spark conversation and like get that interest. TikTok, they've got really good like short videos and like asking players questions and like having like the humor aspects and like getting people involved in conversation. And then on their like Instagram side, got like successful reels and increasing like you were saying about their merchandise of how they're selling their products and how they're advertising it. And Arsenal have the same kit for both their men and women. And they want to make it as it, because it's a club, it's like one club ethos.
Everyone gets the same
It's
shit.
the same shit. And within like I think it was last season, they made the Emirates the women's home pitch to be playing on.
Oh, okay.
Like when you'll go to games, it used to be somewhere else in that part of North London. I'm trying to remember the name of the pitch, but
they didn't get to play on the main one.
We didn't get to play on the main one. Setup wasn't as good. Like, and then like fast forward, like within a couple of years, now sell out at the Emirates. So like the last game I went to, I think it was like 54,000 in attendance, and they they're the ones that keep breaking the record. Been to a few games this season, and even like being in attendance, seeing how it's still like changing. And one of the last games I went to, it was like a midweek game, so much lower attendance. But what I loved was seeing the Arsenal like through and through fans all still turning up, and it was like, I'd say it was like pretty, maybe like high 50% women there, and then like the rest were men,
Yeah.
which usually like there's like a lot of families at women's games and like, but like more women, but like I
Yeah.
saw like a lot of men
So the
coming
fans
to
are
support.
supporting the club as opposed to supporting the women's or the men's.
Yeah,
Like they're just there because they love the club.
exactly. And like I was like listening into this group of lads that were sat in front of us, and they clearly just like come from work, and they were talking about some of the women's players, and like they were so involved with knowing what they were like, how they were playing. And they were like, God, like Mead was so on form like in the last Euros, and like this season I've just not really seen her. She's not like had like what she's had in the last few games. And like it was watching how the discussion, how they knew so much about each individual player, and they weren't just there being like yay, go woman, like you can kick a ball. They were like being critical and saying as well, this is what they've done so well, but like what they've done the last few games has not been as good, and treating it the same as the men's game. I think that's something that as women in sport, like we want to make very clear, like we want the same treatment. I know personally that I want to be told what I'm not doing well, as much as like you don't want to be like, oh, that's so good for you that you're a woman in sport and you're doing that. Go you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's timid, and it's not like giving acknowledgement of like how much grit it takes to be at a level that's, you know, you're not a weak female.
Yeah.
You're doing, you're clearly not. Don't talk about me as if I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think that I'd say that's my biggest bugbear, is if like it's kind of, if you're talking about it like it's not the same thing, because you're both sides of it, men and women are putting out the same into their sport,
Yeah.
and it should be spoken about the same.
Well, that actually leads really well into the other stat that I had. And because I know as an athlete, we literally do the same miles.
Yeah.
It just takes us a bit longer.
Yeah.
Or we do the same duration of weight session. We just, in some cases, don't lift quite so much. But I mean, we had Sophie Capewell on a few weeks ago, and she was saying that her squat PB is at 160 kilos,
Yeah.
which is like mad.
And then like, how much of percentage more is that than her body
She's
weight?
so over double.
Over double.
Over double.
It's immense.
And
It's
Matt,
so impressive.
Matt was like, I'm not even doing 160. He was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm really good at eight rep maxes or something. I was like, niche, but okay. But speaking in terms of like, you know, the rowing races that we've done is the same distance, like 2K, like everyone does 2K. But from a physiological
Yeah, yeah.
physiological point of view, like it does take us 45 seconds to a minute longer. So there's
It's like a 11 to 13%
longer,
more based
more
on
duration.
physiological differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's Norwegian and Swiss scientists have teamed up together just for fun. And just to clarify, like, we don't want our lakes to change. Like, we want to do the same distance as men.
Yeah.
It does take longer.
Yeah.
And it's the same for the women's football. Like, they don't want to change any of this, but this is like what it actually means to play women's football. So the goal size and the pitch size is catered towards men, or not catered towards men, but it's set originally with a male athlete in mind.
Yeah.
So if the men were to play the women's game, or if they were to like hop into our bodies for a minute, or like not even hop into our bodies, if they were going to play it how it felt to be a woman, their goal size would need to be 15% larger.
Yeah.
And in order for them to play on a pitch, how it would feel to play, or a woman playing on a man's pitch.
Yeah.
They would need to play on a pitch size of 132 meters by 84. And a standard pitch, what they're used to playing on, is 105 by 68 meters.
Yeah.
So that's the physiological, that's the science, if you like, to make it physiologically what it would be like to be a man playing the women's game.
No, I know.
Which is mental, because like all the training is very like the same or
Yeah.
similar. And but it is like physiologically different. So the tactics and the speed at which it's all done is different. I mean, not was it the final goal that Chloe Kelly scored?
Oh, the penalty
was clocked at 110 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
And what was it? The men's
109.
109.
Fastest penalty of last season for the men.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you brought Chloe Kelly up, because I think there's been like a couple of stories that I think like, oh, wow, that's incredible. But she had a pretty rough time this season. I think it wasn't really disclosed what was going on, but she wasn't treated very well at Man City where she was playing, and the manager really wasn't helping her out. She wasn't given game time, and like she was really like she was on the bench basically. And
was it the winter sads?
The winter sads. It hits us all. It's not going well. We've all been there. She was in a really dark place, and she was gonna walk away from football. Really unhappy. Wanted to go on loan to Arsenal, and I like this is kind of discussion. So like this isn't completely factual, because there's a lot of stuff that can't be discussed as like or disclosed as like what is going on inside clubs.
There's no official statement.
No official statement, if you will.
But from Daisy Bellamy,
but
from
my credentials, what I would say, no, she apparently they weren't her so Man City weren't going to help her to go on loan. So then, and this is quite unheard of in professional football, is that she then reached out to Arsenal herself, and she was like, if you're not going to help me, then I'll do it for myself. And she went on loan. She won the Champions League, the European Champions League, with Arsenal, which is huge. So top European club. She was a huge part of that, and then went on to play the Euros, and was kind of the reason that, not the whole reason obviously, because there's a lot of people that are a huge part of it, but that was like the definitive moment of like we had won off that penalty.
Yeah.
And that was it. And this was a woman that was going to walk away completely. We've seen it happen. It was like, like 6 to 8 months ago that she was about to call it a day, and then she's come back and she's done that. Which I think is just incredibly impressive. And these women are built different, like how you're in a system that doesn't help you most of the time, and it's changing, and it's great to see. I've enjoyed watching that so much. But it's still got a long way to go, and you're constantly fighting against the tide, it feels. Yeah. And she's just like shown everyone yet again, like what would have been happening behind the scenes. Like we only know a small snippet of it, and like how much that took to get back to that point.
Yeah.
I just think is incredible.
Well, the main thing that I think is, if football can sort itself out, then other sports will follow, because it is such a major part of like UK culture, if you like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if football can sort itself out, then the likelihood of other sports sort of following suit and like getting their shit together is quite high. I have a couple of questions that are non-related to football, because I think we've got most of our football bits in there. I'm not going to ask you all of the normal questions, but I did want to ask, do you have a piece of advice that changed your sport for you, or your sporting career? Can be something someone might have told you in the changing rooms. My favourite is always use conditioner on your legs when you're shaving.
I was going to say
it can be
so
different from that. It can be deep too. But like like some people, a lot of people have gone deep recently. But if you don't want to go deep, then it can be funny too. So whatever.
Okay.
Go with what first came to mind, because I feel like that's
okay. Well,
that's
so
good.
what first came to mind is you have to be your biggest advocate.
Yeah.
no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to do it for you. And that is a tough lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But you have got to get yourself there. And yeah, there are incredible people that assist you and help you along the way, but they cannot do it for you. And you've just got to keep going, like get your head down and just
Grind out.
there's many different ways of you can phrase it, and some of them probably wouldn't be too podcast friendly.
It's
But
all right, it's an explicit podcast.
I know, like we'd had a conversation when it was some dark days, and you were just like, you gotta put your big girl pants on and you gotta get out there, and like you can. I think I saw something recently that apparently Beyonce allows you to be sad for one day, and that's what
Okay.
you're allowed. So
Okay.
you can sit in your sadness for one day, and then after that, you have to remember who you fucking are, and you've got to turn this ship around. And I think just think that's so important for all aspects of life.
Yeah. No, that is a good one.
Yeah,
That is a good one. Put your big girl pants on.
pretty good, big girl.
What is it? Advocate for yourself because only you know what you're experiencing or what you're feeling. Like everyone can try and work it out, but you are the only one that knows yourself the best.
Yeah, and I think it's just like, but even in situations where you're like, no, well, I shouldn't have been like put in that position, or if we are talking about sport, like, well, why am I not in the first team? Why have you selected that when that doesn't make sense? Because I've been performing really well. Like, you've got to go and have they're really uncomfortable conversations,
But they got to be had.
but they've got to be had. Like, and the most successful athletes are ones that they don't just sit on the sidelines letting things happen.
Yeah.
Like putting yourself out there, got to fight forward all the time
Yeah.
because there's no other way around it. And if you let the bad things happen and like let them knock you off the rails, like, and then what? Do you just sit there? Like, no, you've got to like, okay, we go again. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna change how we do it. And if we're unhappy, we move where we are. If we do this, like, you've you're not set in one point in your life. Like, you have all these different options that you can do,
Yeah.
and it's just about going out there and like finding them.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We also have another question, which is normally my last question, which is what are we listening to in the gym or on the pitch? I mean,
On
you're
the
not on the
pitch,
pitch,
on
but
the pitch.
on the lake.
Currently, I'm doing a
Female
lot of
sporting podcast at all times.
yeah.
Women's football.
I'm a big fan of Doechii.
Oh, yeah.
I know that we bond over this as well. I love any female rappers. Sims released her new album, that's really good. But no, I'd say probably Doechii is on the top
Don't
of
choose
that
the
at the
big
moment.
one.
Yeah,
She is absolutely killing
yeah,
it.
and she's another success story that you really
Yeah.
can admire. Very, very cool person to follow. Yeah, and she's very real. She doesn't hide away from anything.
Well, that is all my questions. Are there any other bits that you can think of that you want in there in the mix?
I think I just want to say, I think this is behalf of all the listeners. Like, thank you to putting this out there and the platform that you've built on your own, because I know that when I was a young athlete, the information wasn't out there and it was so hard to source and find it yourself, and there was so much mixed opinion, and like it was like it's the big sister advice that you needed to kind of get by in sport. And I mean, I learned so much from you and people like Susie Deer and like these athletes that taught you from their own experience, but it's not out there for young athletes. And it for me it took a long time to click, because if it's not there and you can't see it, you're never going to fully understand like how to do it. And yeah, I just really enjoy listening in and how there's such a mix of everything.
there's links to everything. It's like
Touches on me.
I want to talk about football, but I also want to talk about Leah Williamson's girlfriend wearing that t-shirt because I was obsessed.
Because the fit was so good.
But well, thank you very much. So it's making me all teary now. But the that is the idea, is that you can be a sporting individual in whatever that fits into for like your lifestyle. Like you could be a sporting individual and be a rocket scientist, or you could be a sporting individual and like love the fits that the wags are wearing to like women's football games, or like what have I been? Oh my God, I've been obsessed with like the Dallas cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God.
they've just had a 400% increase in their wages,
That is wild.
but only because they like sat down and they were like, this is not good enough. And they were like gonna boycott signing their contracts and everything.
Oh my God.
Watch season 2 of the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. Like season 1's very good and like very catchy, but season 2 it's a lot about like what it actually means to be a female athlete in sport, because what they're doing, they are like athletes. Like neither of us have got the fucking mobility or the like all this
I don't
explosivity.
know. After 40 kilos, I'm pretty sure I could make a good crack at it.
It's honestly, it's wild. And like the Cowboys football is such a large, profitable
Yeah.
thing, and the
Yeah.
fact that they were literally being paid nothing. And I don't know how much of this you've seen, but
No, I know, I've followed along.
like,
No.
and it was like, oh no, what makes you special is you have a job alongside doing this effectively full-time sporting job.
Yeah.
That was like part of the conversation. It's like, no, it's really special because you're showing everyone that it can be done.
Don't try and manipulate
Oh,
me.
so stupid. But anyway, maybe I'll try and put that in a bit earlier rather than like let me talk to you about the Dallas Cowboys. But thank you very much, Dave, or Days,
Dave.
the alter ego, the
Alter
football
ego.
alter ego,
The
Dave.
football hooligan. Not, but
I don't know that Matt said I needed to start doing this. I thought he was going to come out with like he was like, there's something that I've seen on podcasts recently that you really need to start doing with your guests, and I think it's going to like make a big difference. And I was like, oh, what is it? And he was like, you need to ask them what their Instagram handles are. And I was like, oh, I thought you were going to come out with like a groundbreaking like section,
game changer.
and he was like, oh no, I just thought that this would be really good. But anyway, Daisy, if people want to follow you on Instagram, they can follow you at.
Pretty sure it's Daisy.Bellamy.
This is the thing, nobody knows what
I set it up when I was like 15. I didn't even know. Oh no, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Daisy.Bellamy.
But if not, I'm probably tagged in one of Sophia's pictures.
That's very true.
Find me that way.
That's very true. Okay, well, Matt, I hope you're happy.